Hello, you are listening to Super Podcast Time Radio. My name is Andrew.
My name is Remington.
Super Podcast Time is a corporate subsidiary of the SuperNerdTime media empire. Super Podcast Time covers all sorts of topics to get nerdy over. We talk about anime, video games, movies, science, all sorts of junk. You'll be able to see all of these images and details in the video overlaying this audio. So let's get on to the first episode of Super Podcast Time. Remington, you have a question.
I have a question. This is the question I asked before. What makes something an anime and or could mainstream movies, TV shows, books, stories, like, are they actually secretly animes? Is that the...
Yeah, that one.
That one?
That one.
Okay, well, I'd ask it, but I just did.
Right.
So the premise of this idea, so it basically came from me being like a total nerd and like borderline, I don't want to use the word loser, but loser.
Let's call it that.
Yeah, let's stick with that.
Let's embrace it.
And so I think there are a certain type of people, a number of people drawn to animes, and not like, I'm not saying like Japanese people like animes, because like I think that the American taste in anime and the Japanese taste in anime, if you look at what's trending in the top things, are drastically different.
Yep.
But the idea comes from, certain type of people are drawn to these certain types of stories that you find generally in animes that you don't find elsewhere. I don't know if it's because there's less of a barrier, there's less of a creative block, or there's no network intervention when creating an anime, or if it's because it's trusted because generally it's proven in, manga form before it's put on the big screen. So there you have a good story or premise or beginning, and it already has a following and audience, so it'll be successful.
Do you think we should do video with this?
If you want to. I think it'd look whack. We have a big old pillow in between us.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's fine. So generally, animes come from a story, a manga, light novel, something written in Japan. Let's back up for a second. Anime is, I believe, a Japanese version of an English word for animation or animated.
Yeah, I think it's literally just a shortened version.
It's just a shorthand slang.
Yeah, so that's the issue we're going to have to come up to, is how to define the word anime.
Right.
Because a lot of people seem to have a lot of trouble with that.
Because so if you're in Japan and you say anime, it's like, oh, literally any cartoon ever.
Right.
Is anime. And then
I don't know. How do you think Japanese people, would you think they would just say American cartoons for,
I don't know,
like something like SpongeBob or like Gravity Falls?
I don't know. Please comment below if you have been to Japan or speak Japanese or are Japanese, or your sister's boyfriend's friend's old roommate was Japanese and you found out the answer to that question. Please let us know.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But oh man, I had it. It's gone.
About what?
Something about anime, probably.
What anime is in Japan, or how to define it? Because we should define it.
We should.
I think my current succinct definition of anime is a cartoon or animation that is produced in Japan, and it can be about anything, genre not specific. There are many genres within anime which correlate similarly to other medium, like American cartoons or American TV shows or American movies or movies and TV shows anywhere. And I think the only thing that makes an anime is technically the Japanese and animation part of it. But for the sake of this podcast, we are going with the more non-weebish definition, being that like anime has to be weird and
right. We are inserting multiple stereo facts here. We have blown past the stereotype barrier into stereo fact land, or not yet, but we will.
Right.
No, what I was going to say earlier, you say anime in Japan, it's, literally any cartoon ever, and you say anime in middle school, you get a wedgie. So
Yeah.
it's not that bad, I promise. If there are any listeners here who are deterred from watching anime because we say it makes you a loser, that's not true.
No.
We're just losers.
Yeah.
So I think what will define an anime is opportunity for over-the-top action.
Oh, yeah.
And not only opportunity, but seizing that opportunity. So you look at a Dragon Ball Z fight scene. It takes multiple episodes. And, using one move. And then, like, literally everything ever. Special beam cannon. You got to, like, announce the move before you do it. That's a thing. I don't know why it makes it stronger or cooler, but, like, maybe it's so... I don't know. More people know what's going on. But anyway, it's still cool. Bleach, they go to the swords go, Bankai Banzai, and they're like, and then they get like huge and it's crazy and epic.
You just make up Bankai Banzai.
No, well, Bankai is
I know that, but
Banzai, it's a word. Yeah. Whatever, man. Alliteration and rhyming at the same time.
Bankai Banzai slash.
And then on the softer side, there are other genres besides hack and slash and anime. You have a ton of slice of life, literally more slice of life animes than action animes. I'm pretty sure,
without a doubt.
But generally, there's an action. There's also a whole entire sci-fi world to anime. But even I guess not every slice of life, but a lot of them do have these strange cutaways or these strong, emotional insets. Two extreme ones I can think of. Nichijou, the popular one, will have these cutaways. It's a story about little girls doing like normal stuff. I don't really know how to describe the story.
They're just living normal.
Live normal life.
If Nichijou in Japanese means daily life,
there you go.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. It's like that's life. So they're living their daily lives as high school girls, but some random
in the show
stuff.
with the freedom and opportunities animation gives, they'll drop like a piece of sushi on the floor, and in an effort to save it, it becomes this 30-second long fight sequence between the chopsticks, gravity, the sushi. Oh, like this?
Yeah.
I apologize.
Oh, you can move the whole stand.
You right?
I was like, you can move, like it's a whole arm.
It's a thing.
You can move it to you comfort zone.
Nice. I just you'll probably hear it's good. I get excited. I'm going to move around.
I'll say, because I'm literally like just an inch away from my mic.
Okay. Yeah. I'll get up in there, get up in them guts.
Yeah.
So it's just the opportunity for something extreme. There's another one. I'm not really quite sure of the total name. The Baka no Testo something.
Idiot. Bakuto Testo.
Yeah.
Shinjuku. Idiot and Test.
Idiot and Test is like you just Google that.
English name.
You'll get some weird anime pictures.
Right.
But it's like a normal school life, except their grades give them like fighting avatars that they use. So depending on how well they score on the test is the power of their little fighting avatar guy, man, dude, who they use to fight each other to get like higher points in class in another way, because I guess the test wasn't enough. It's a practical application. You fight with your mini-me. So anyways, just weird stuff. So I think that in order to really be an anime, it's got to embrace some weird Eastern story mechanics.
Yeah, there's got to be those very specific, like Japanese culture tropes that the reason a lot of people in America will find it weird is because we're not, ingrained in Japanese culture, so we don't understand.
And it becomes unrelatable,
right?
Which makes it a hard medium to get into.
Yeah, that's true. Until you watch, like 300 episodes and get to the point where you can just be like, oh, I know everything about Japanese culture now. I'm a goddamn weeb genius.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I want to go to Japan, and you show up, and you're just like, yeah, I speak Japanese.
Yeah, life is like anime, right? And then everyone's just like, who the fuck is this guy?
Speaking the most horrible Japanese.
Offensive, because you're just... Yeah, that'll get you hit. That'll get you kicked in the nuts by a small Japanese girl.
Yeah. All right. So where were we? We're doing a podcast.
We're going on the assumption now that like something weird and maybe a little bit extreme that embraces that weirdness to be like a cool, exciting story could be defined as an anime.
And so
I guess like what things in other medium do you like could be turned into a good anime?
Correct.
Yeah. And I think what is a good example of this is a show on Netflix that we just watched where it was live action. But I know that like that's based off of a manga anyway, and it was just absurd and really funny, but because it was so absurd and like dramatic, like doing things in special effects, there's only so much special effects can do until you're just like, just make it a cartoon.
Just hire some animators.
Yeah. But
the show we were referring to was Blazing
Transfer Students.
Blazing Transfer Students, featuring the members of the renowned J-pop boy band
Johnny's West. Yeah, that was really good.
And I'm not going to say I wouldn't recommend watching the show. I would definitely recommend checking it out.
Oh, yeah. But that was super cool.
I literally have no care in the world what happens. It's,
it's just so confusing.
I'm probably not going to watch any more of it.
No.
But one episode
was pretty freaking awesome.
It's one of those one and dones. It's good, though.
Yeah.
So the other thing that's prominent in animes, which is really prominent in all good stories, and I'm not saying all animes are good stories. Most of them are because they come from a manga that's already has good ratings.
Right.
But you have your general character development in your main character or main group of characters, and you get to watch them grow and grow with them. And then also one thing that is very specific to anime, though, you have a lot of one-dimensional characters, and so they'll be used as a background to see how much your main character grows, but also as like can I call it a cringe factor? Because that you've seen a few episodes, you've been watching for a while, this character totally represents the anger emotion or being embarrassed or whatever. So you know what's going to happen before it happens, and I think that adds a lot of it's very predictable the choices these characters will make, which can also mislead the situation too.
Yeah, that's true. Like you can use their one-dimensional characteristics to the advantage of the storytelling, where you would just be like, the writers have the assumption that everyone's going to know that this character is going to do something, and then you just flip it on its head and do something weird as crap.
Right.
Which is great.
Kind of gives you that, like Ocean's 11, or pick a number, Ocean's, any number ever, roll a die. And, that Now You See Me feel, where like, I don't know. And then sometimes it's the complete opposite, where like what's going to happen, then it happens, and you sulk, or you're happy, or whatever,
Yeah, I think there's two type of stories that I like about anime, and it really depends on what kind of attitude you want to go for, or what tone you're looking to watch. And that's like, you've got stories that are very predictable and they're very good at being predictable. They just like exemplify the one-dimensional characters, and they tell a pretty predictable story in a reasonable setting, and you just know what's going to happen, but it's done so well that you just enjoy it. And then the other type is a story that's very character driven, and it's very well done, unique story that has lots of twists and turns. It just ends up interesting and unique. But sometimes you're not in the mood for something high level, intelligent. You just want to sit on your ass, eat a bag of Doritos, and watch some funny anime happen.
Yeah, or watch some sick fight scenes and dudes get their limbs chopped off.
That's true. Fighting anime, unless they're like really long, are usually predictable. Or unless it's completely out the window, like One Punch Man.
Oh, yeah. Well, still, though, you have your main character, and it's like as soon as you're introduced to the main character, generally the first person you see, it's like, okay, this guy's going to win literally every fight, or he might lose, but he's going to come back stronger and win later.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for every action anime. Sorry.
That's true.
But it's still, the ride is still enjoyable.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So what I want to do is pinpoint mainstream movies, shows, story, book, I don't care, whatever we can think of, and kind of put it on the scales of anime-ness to find out, is it like, could it be an anime? Is there enough outlandish, are there enough outlandish things that happen? Does the story move enough? And really, could it be animated in a sense that would, I want to say, I guess, add to it, as opposed to subtract or give you the same feeling? So technically the answer is like, yes, you can do that with anything, because I've seen, you can probably search it right now, the SpongeBob anime intro, and then there are other ones too. Have you seen that?
SpongeBob anime intro?
Yeah. Where they just they choose some random anime, Japanese
an intro
song or whatever. Yeah, the intro song, and they just have hyper, drawn, hyper animated.
Oh,
sketch,
yeah, okay, I think I've seen that. Yeah,
Squidward, and it's all dynamic lighting. And,
yeah, I think I've seen that.
So you could do that with literally anything, and then show's over, you could just change the story and do whatever, and everything's an anime. But I think it's a little deeper than that. So on that note, Andrew, do you think SpongeBob could be an anime? I feel like it would be more of a slice of life type thing. Following the life
question
of our favorite fry cook.
Yeah, that's hard. I was really, really expecting you to come at me with some live action things, because that's easier to do.
I think there's a mix, because it's already animated, right? So
it's already animated, so it's more of this,
and they already do ridiculously unrealistic things, like they swim in the lagoon that's already underwater.
Yeah.
And there's a squirrel from Texas.
And they already go through, I feel like they do a lot of things that are overly,
over the top.
I think maybe
the first episode when he makes a bazillion patties, right?
Yeah.
When Squidward gets those thunder thighs for breaking into the vault.
I think it could do well with some more exaggerated facial expressions and things, which they usually do a pretty good job of when they do the overly well drawn images. They do an actual acrylic painting of someone's face, and it just looks absurdly disgusting or something that
flapjack technique.
Yeah. Those are really funny. I enjoy those parts. And
I don't think I think in a slice of life comedy like that, there would need to be some type of cringe factor where even if I'm sitting there by myself watching it in my room with my bag of Doritos,
you want to turn it off at some point.
I would get embarrassed just by myself, and oh my, I'd feel it in my bones, butterflies in my stomach, just being embarrassed about the decisions being made or what's happening.
Yeah.
And I think that would be challenging to do with SpongeBob, maybe because I just recognize him as my favorite.
And it's also a children's show.
Right.
So, I mean, I've never really watched any specifically for children anime
animes.
aside from when I watched Pokemon. That's another thing.
Is Pokemon an anime?
Pokemon
I feel
isn't.
like Pokemon's pretty Western.
I don't know if you've seen the new Pokemon Sun and Moon though, but
I heard that's the hot one. It's good to go.
Pokemon Sun and Moon it's an anime now.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't an anime before, they did it now where the characters have actual personalities. Like, I mean, granted, Ash is still a dumb little kid, but at least now they're embracing that. And you're like, hey, you know, you've been traveling around the world for 20 odd years now. Maybe you should go to elementary school. And they finally gave him an education, but it's still not panning out.
Yeah, stay in school, kids. Don't end up like
no
Ash
wonder.
Ketchum.
No wonder he can't understand type advantages. He never went to school.
Yeah, never went.
All he did was beat up schoolboys.
Yeah, he never got the quick claw.
God, freaking moron. He just cheated his way through everything.
So let's spin it. Let's go with a superhero movie.
Yeah.
Maybe one that could be and one that could less be an anime. I think that Deadpool, the first one, I've not seen Deadpool 2 yet.
They're both the same movie.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So I guess I've seen both of them.
Yeah.
I believe with a protagonist, maybe antagonist,
Anti-hero.
yeah, antagonist, like Deadpool, there is ample opportunity for anime-ness.
Yeah, and just the wild way in which he acts and
Right, yeah.
just all the crazy stuff that happens in that movie. Like that could easily be
Ample opportunity for fight scenes, fight stuff.
to go even more extreme because he does some pretty acrobatic things and you just, you animate that, make it a little more extra.
Yeah.
And you got yourself a pretty sweet anime.
And then you have, there's unlimited comedic relief in Deadpool.
Yeah, it's true.
And then it's already, it's a proven American comic. So like, what is that? The manga equivalent, right?
Yeah, it's true.
And then you have he's famous for breaking the fourth wall. He'll talk to the camera, talk to you. I think that would.
I don't think I've really ever seen that in anime before.
I have not seen it in anime
fourth wall breaking.
That was, yeah.
I'm trying to think.
But I think that's kind of the equivalent of your anime monologues, right? When they're talking in their heads and they're getting...
Oh, that's true. When they're just thinking to themselves.
And so you, the omniscient watcher, is able to hear their thoughts and see what they're saying as they, So I feel like that's very... If he did that instead of breaking the fourth wall and you just saw into his mind where he's like...
Well, I mean, if they kept in the fourth wall breaking, that'd be a pretty darn unique anime.
Yeah.
Haven't really seen that.
So I think that one's a two thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Deadpool could be an anime. It'd be great. What about, I assume your other one's probably Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises or something?
Yeah. I pitched, I had this conversation before and I pitched Batman versus Superman.
Oh, right. Talk about one-dimensional characters.
Yeah. Talk about one-dimensional characters.
I don't want to insult anime by saying Batman versus Superman could be it because the story was not too great.
Well, I think the characters don't go anywhere. Not even the villain. It's like,
well, the villain is not a villain. The villain is a rock.
Yeah,
he's a walking, talking boulder. Pilgrims used to ride those for miles.
But with Batman versus Superman, I think from the beginning you don't have a lot of room for growth.
Because they're already well-developed characters, and they're
established
assuming that everyone knows who these characters are anyway.
And I think that's what I think it's what's going to differentiate a lot of American comics from manga too. Which, I mean, all comics are spin-offs, though. There's it's like Green Lantern. All right, let's make another Green Lantern one. Oh, it's been 2 years since there's been a good one. Let's give it a shot.
Let's give it a shot and add him in a different setting with another superhero, and he's in this universe now.
But it's nice, though, because you already know that character. It's like the noir detective. You watch a new old school black and white noir movie. You see the detective introduces him and he's like, I frequent this place all the time and never seen him here before, blah, 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 blah. And it's just very, it's like, oh, I already know this detective. He's the salty, on edge cop / ex-cop who wears the fedora.
Yeah.
And so I feel like American superheroes in comics have that feel with their characters. Some may disagree.
I was gonna say the Spider-Man movies up until this latest one, they kept doing the origin story,
right?
And pretty much every time they do it, like Man of Steel was like an hour and a half long origin story, followed by a hour long dubstep music video. I don't know. Batman vs Superman as an anime, I can really only imagine it as like those Justice League cartoons that I don't watch.
I have a hard time pinning Batman versus Superman as a story in general because you don't really go anywhere. You like the movie ends in the same place as it started and you didn't go anywhere the whole time. Well,
I mean, except one of the names of the movie ends up, spoiler alert, dead at the end.
Quotation marks dead.
Quotation marks dead until he comes back to life.
Yeah, but did that really make him like a better person, or the other character, or any other characters a better, like, it didn't really change anything.
No, it did not change anything.
So, anyway, I'm going to say no just because the lack of story development.
I would also just say no because I don't really care to watch it again.
Right, yeah.
No matter how you spin that, no matter what you draw that on, it's not going to end up great.
They get it. We hate DC. We don't hate DC.
I don't hate DC. I just don't like that movie. I'm not going to watch that again.
I also don't think The Dark Knight could be, or any of Nolan's Dark Universe, or whatever you want to call it.
No, Dark Universe is The Mummy.
Oh, The Mummy.
Like, that's an actual thing now.
Yeah?
Yeah. They're making it's Universal's Dark Universe, I think.
I think a lot of people would disagree with me, but I really miss Brendan Fraser.
Oh, God, yeah. That was great.
In any movie he was in, anime, hands down.
Like Encino Man?
Encino Man. Well, like, even you look at he does like I don't know,
He is a living, breathing caricature.
These very memeable, gifable moments, He's like, and like look at the camera, or like he's like, just like the oh shit, and it's like really goofy, dude. I loved it when I was a little kid.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
I still am a fan of it because it cracks me up. It's just a real cheap laugh, but that's like very, very anime moment, I think.
Yeah,
like the oh shit moment. But whatever. The Christopher Nolan who did the Batman 1, 2, and 3 featuring the Joker, Bane, and the guy with the bag on his head.
Scarecrow.
Yeah.
What was the second one? That was Joker.
Yeah, it was Joker.
The first one was just Scarecrow and League of...
Well, Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, Ra's al Ghul.
The Ninja Squad.
Yeah.
And then, his daughter didn't betray until the third movie, right? They kept that in the back.
That was the end.
Yeah. Just spoiler alert.
The movie came out like 10 years ago now.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't even born yet when that movie came out.
I'm trying to compare. I'm trying to think in my head, comparing it to like Monster, Death Note.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like darker animes. Yeah, Death Note.
Mushishi.
It's still a very, even though it's Batman, it's a superhero movie. It's really like it's got more of a thriller feel than a superhero feel.
Yeah, those are certainly horror-ish movies.
Yeah. But I want to say no. I mean,
I think they're good enough as they were, and like they don't. I don't think
definitely not be better purposed as an anime.
No, and I don't think Batman covers.
I think he's a strong anime main character either, right?
No, because he doesn't ever really arc that well until you get to like the grumbly old man Ben Affleck Batman that after like Joker kills people and he becomes a huge dick.
Yeah.
I mean, I just meant like in terms of like having a story arc.
You
like
truthin'.
That's the thing. You know what? That's the thing about American superheroes versus like, you don't have to be quiet. I can edit it out.
Okay.
The thing about American superheroes versus like anime superheroes is it like, I feel like American superheroes are ideal images of what they're supposed to be. Like they are one-dimensional characters that you're supposed to like idolize, whereas like Japanese superhero in quotation marks characters aren't like ideal type characters. They're relatable characters. They are, actual characters that you can be like, oh, I could totally do that if I'd, trained on a planet and in a super hyperbolic time chamber.
It wore 130 kilograms of.
Yeah. Like you can, anime characters are meant to be more relatable.
I think that's a big part of anime too, is that all your characters have flaws, which is a great story point.
Except for Saitama. One Punch Man is perfect.
Well, I mean, he still has flaws. I mean, he's a loser and he doesn't get recognized, and he probably never will. That's a strong flaw.
That's his own damn fault. Well, actually, no.
He's also bald. Like, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, he did that to himself, though. That was, because
through rigorous training. So
I guess in that regard, if we have something that has a more relatable character, so like a relatable main character, that's a pretty good breakthrough. Relatable main character goes through a character story arc. There's an actual story, and there's some one-dimensional background characters, possibly some other tiered down non-one-dimensional characters that might go through minor arcs of their own.
I guess it's still story dependent, but a lot of the times your motive is declared early on in anime, or you kind of just the purpose of the story. I mean, Death Note, the motive is kind of declared very early on. So what happens is he finds this book, and you write and you name it, and then that person like gets offed, so that they die after he writes their name. And he's like, I'm going to find every bad person, villain ever, and I'm just going to write all of their names in this book, and then they'll see you later, and the world will be a beautiful place. So it's kind of like determined from the beginning. But then the whole anime isn't him just writing names in the book. Like, that'd be stupid. So there's like a arc and whatever going on throughout that, but this character's motive and the end goal, and hopefully what will happen at the end of the anime. Dragon Ball Z comes in like cycles or sequences.
Yeah, but I mean, in Dragon Ball Z, you pretty much at the get-go, you always know
who he's like. Oh, this guy showed up, we got to fight this guy.
Yeah,
and then it's training and stuff to fight this guy until the final boss battle, and
whether or not it's his motive, that's kind of like his.
Well, his motive is like to save the world. And
I meant it like what's gonna happen kind of thought. Even if it's never really clearly stated, like the beginning of most shows, you have the gist of like,
what TF is going on.
Yeah.
So let's go non-superhero, because all I can think of are superhero movies now.
Yeah, I know. Just because they have extreme action and they fit super well.
This episode of Super Podcast Time is brought to you from the all-powerful sun. You know it, I know it, we all know it. He knows it, she knows it, we all know it, yeah. It is the center of our universe, center of almost literally everything. Not our universe, sorry.
Yeah, solar system.
Our solar system.
Close enough.
Yeah. Our universe as we know it. We can't go that far. It gives us light, gives us heat, gives us energy. It makes your food grow. It makes your food's food grow.
You can harness it in a wonderful new technology called solar panels.
And use it as a renewable energy.
That is true. It's very nice. You could sit outside and bask in it and bask in its glory and change the color of your skin slightly.
Tan up your hot dog legs.
Yep.
And most importantly, you can just go outside when it's daytime and use it for light to see things.
Yeah.
Very important.
But I mean, I think most importantly that, it's a subscription-based thing.
Of course.
It's a free subscription though.
Yes.
You just go outside and type in the subscription code SUN. That's SUN.
All caps.
All caps. And there you are. You're subscribed to Sunlight for free.
And able to receive all of its beautiful benefits.
Yeah. And it's possible not benefits of melanoma. But let's just ignore that. That's just a side effect. And we're back, although it seems like no time has passed, even though we went around and walked around for a while.
Oh, definitely.
Took a long break.
Five smoke if you got them.
Yeah. And we're back to the podcast talking about what things could be an anime, what is an anime, and if other media would transfer over better to being an anime. So
this just sparked my brain real quick. I pulled up a quick Spaceballs quote, which is probably quoted from somewhere else. But what about parody movies? I mean, it's a parody movie, so it probably definitely is quoted from somewhere else.
Oh yeah.
But a parody movie like Spaceballs or like Young Frankenstein. I'm just listening to Mel Brooks movies now.
Yeah, I mean they're great.
But, yeah. That sort of thing. I mean, even let's step back. Let's just look at Star Wars. Star Wars being anime, you got lightsaber fights, you got blaster fights, you got cool sci-fi world. You've got this developing main character, Luke Skywalker, who's like, a trash can desert boy.
Yeah.
Who works his way up from, flying his T-16 Skyhopper in the canyon.
Yeah, I think in anime form, it would be way different.
I agree.
It wouldn't be that. I mean, it wouldn't be extraordinarily different, but I mean, there would be different character elements that would
I think it would spend more time on character development between the characters than just moving the plot, which Star Wars is very even. Speaking specifically, Episode 4, kind of featuring 5 and 6, is where my mindset is for the story.
Yeah, I think it would be fantastic as an anime.
I agree. I think it would be hard to make better than it is now, but I think it would be
very different, and it'd just be a different telling of the same story, and you would just get some different elements that pop up, which would be pretty interesting. So yeah, Star Wars, good.
All right, let's whip it on to the parody, Spaceballs.
Oh,
if you've not seen it, I highly recommend.
Yeah.
So if you have not seen it, it's literally like a total ripoff Star Wars, where there's like this planet and this princess who like runs away and then gets captured by this bad guy who wears a giant black helmet. His name is Lord Helmet, and he's pulled in by his tractor beam, or she is pulled in by his tractor beam and gets stuck on his ship and is saved by the valiant marauder. I don't even know his name, but he drives a flying Winnebago.
Lone Star.
Lone Star.
I literally remember that because it's like raspberries. The only person fiendish enough to use raspberry would be Lone Star.
So I think it's hard to shove a parody movie because it's funny enough, and I think in my mind, if something's funny, then it's acceptable to add more humor through camera techniques or other techniques, by making it an animation techniques. It's not a camera, but by animating it. But I would say, I'm taking a second to figure out what I want to say. Um, I would say with Spaceballs, the story's all there because they literally ripped it from Star Wars. But there's fight scenes. The whole movie's a comedy, so there's comedic effort. Um, but it being a parody, you don't really see. I mean, your characters kind of grow. Your princess goes from snobby, too good for you princess to like, I want to elope with Lone Star and live in his flying Winnebago for the rest of forever. Um,
Which is essentially the same plot as Star Wars.
yeah, right. No, yeah. Well, yeah.
Because like the joke in Star Wars is that the Millennium Falcon is a hunk of junk, and a Winnebago in real life is a hunk of junk.
Oh man. And then the story is literally the exact same. Bad guy steals princess and controls planet and save planet happily ever after. But I think it would be hard as an anime or like an anime spin-off of really anything, because the biggest part of a spin-off is having seen the original, right? Because it lives off the life of the original. It can still be a good standalone movie, but all of the jokes will be inside jokes to those who have seen the OG movie. So I'm going to put an X on anime parodies. I'm going to say no bueno.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty weird. Plus, I mean, you know, just to become an anime, it doesn't necessarily just have to be funny.
Right.
Why don't we dive towards that? We're figuring out
a serious type thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna go the sci-fi segue into Rick and Morty because I'm kind of curious. I'm not really curious. I think the answer is definitely no. Rick and Morty could not survive as an anime.
Well, yeah, because Rick and Morty doesn't really. I think the problem with that is all of the character elements of Rick and Morty are all like subtle and hidden.
Right.
Which is, you know,
and I think
in an anime they would have to be a lot more kind of bubbled up to the surface.
I feel like Rick and Morty is more like a sitcom. Your characters are already established. They're not really going to change. They may change per episode, but like there's not an overall story or arc.
I would say there's a little bit. You just don't really. It's really hidden in the background of a lot of the episodes. Like Morty growing up to be more kind of self-reliant and kind of
less of a weenie.
Yeah, less of a weenie, more aggressive towards Rick, and then Rick gets a little. He gets a little softer sometimes, but
spot, yeah. But the whole show and the humor and the, you know, is very much reliant on character conflict.
Right.
Which I mean works in animes. I've seen it.
Yeah.
But
I just think they aren't really like anime characters. Like they're too culturally American. Like that's what that's where that cultural divide comes. Yeah.
Also, I don't know like how to like if you could even like animate the animeify the animations in Rick and Morty. Like, was he gonna pull out his portal gun like a dual disc? Interdimension portal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it works really well because it's so like.
I mean, I guess Rick and Morty's still a parody off Back to the Future, anyways.
Just, I mean, not anymore. Like,
yeah, not
literally,
anymore. No,
just very briefly.
Yeah,
it's become its own ridiculous thing now.
Its own entity.
I mean, I think like kind of the absurd
concepts.
I was gonna say the absurd, almost ugly and unaesthetic animation style really plays well to it.
Oh, I agree.
Whereas like animes are kind of diving more towards being aesthetically pleasing and semi-realistic.
Beautiful.
Beautiful wink.
All right, what's the pitch? We're going with a more serious tone to see if we can.
Yeah, so something like
the power of a serious.
Yeah, because something like Monster. Have you seen Monster?
No.
Do you know what it is?
Is it the super gory one?
It's not. I mean, I wouldn't call it super gory,
okay.
but if that's probably what you're thinking of, where it's like the guy is a doctor and he saves a kid's life who grows up to become a murderer.
Oh, no.
What do you think of Parasite?
Maybe. I don't know. There's one where like everywhere is blood spraying from tentacles that come out of people's bodies.
Yep, that's Parasite.
That's Parasite?
Yeah, that's Parasite.
That one looks sick.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, because Monster is 100% realistic. Like, there is no amount of supernatural element to it. And there's a few anime that are like that, where it's
So what do you want to compare
about
that to? Like something with a similar story, like maybe like Dex. Do you want to? So through Monster, do you want to sympathize with the killer, the villain, or no?
not entirely.
Whose POV is it more on?
It's the doctor.
It's the
like,
doctor.
And like you're going through like, oh God, what have I done?
And he takes initiative to try to undo saving this kid's life, or
No. I mean, he just like
just
if you like, you pretty much get a gist of the setting from the first episode, where
Okay.
you've got the doctor. He saves this kid's life because the kid comes into the hospital at the same, like slightly before some really important politician or something, and everybody pressures him to save the politician because they're like, oh, this is a really important guy. That's just some dumb kid. And he's like, well, the kid came in first. Kid's got priority, and everyone hates him for it. So like politically,
moral compass.
yeah, politically in the hospital, he's like downtrodden and becomes hated and stuff. And then you like flash forward to the future, kid becomes a murderer, and he's still in the shit position because everyone still hates him.
Everybody knows, holding it against him.
No, not that. Just because like everybody politically hates him in the hospital because he, made a bad medical decision. But it was the moral decision. But then, he's literally then, morally fighting within himself. It's like, shit, I saved a murderer. Crap. How was I supposed to? I mean, how are you supposed to know? The kid was a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so something like that, not even specifically that show, but like something in that realm of anime that's slice of life without the extremes. Like there's another show called Barakamon. Maybe I'm saying that right. About this guy who is a calligraphy artist and moves out to the boonies kind of island and is very character driven. He just develops as a character as he meets some of these people around the island.
Walden's Pond, the anime.
Sure.
Or Walden Pond. But
Yeah. Or like another one, which is number 2 on my, no, it's number 3 now. Number 3 on my favorite list. Sorry. Boku no Hero. But anyway, that's not realistic. Gin no Saji, or Silver Spoon, which is one of my favorite, is very realistic, and really at no point does anything absurd and animated happen, but it's all just character story driven, and it's kind of about this guy moving out to an agricultural school and learning about other people's perspectives from living on farms their whole life. And he kind of learns to appreciate other people's perspectives on life. And like something like that is really, it's different from the hard, super awesome action anime. And like, I'm trying to think of anything else that would kind of match up to it.
Any other anime? Or
No. Any other, like, I can think of plenty of anime to match that kind of style. I mean, I had just lifted off a few. That anything in like Western medium that matches up that might still transfer over reasonably.
I'm still thinking of murder movies for whatever reason. I'm just like, American Psycho, Dexter. Like, Dexter's not a movie, but it's a...
Yeah, super long TV show.
Right.
What would work?
it's often relying on the story to drive the plot, I think. And so there's not very much like...
Yeah, there's never really any TV shows that are wholly character driven and like character arc based rather than single story driven or kind of situation based.
Yeah.
Because even like, obviously, Law and Order is not a sitcom because it's not a comedy, but it is definitely a sit dram.
Sit dram.
Yeah, it's a sit dram. And like any sitcom I can think of that there's really no like, I guess like reality TV.
Yeah.
In the real world.
Floribama Shore.
What?
It's a new one. I only know it because like I met the dudes and didn't know who they were because I went to the same gym as them once. Spoiler alert, they're not as big as they look on camera. They're like pretty normal size, except for one dude. He's like eats oatmeal roids every day for breakfast. But I understand where you're coming from. What more of like what if we look at like, well, I was gonna say like, what about like doctor shows like ER and House? But the character, well, I think in ER the characters kind of change, but that's
because they have like
it's still very
a billion episodes.
Yeah. And they got to keep the viewers interested.
Yeah.
They got to mix up that potential romance for the for the real desperate housewives. Not the show.
Yeah.
The people.
I mean, I feel like a lot of like indie character piece type movies would work pretty well. But I mean, they're not drawn out, so that's why it's kind of hard to view them as an anime.
Swiss Army Man.
Maybe.
I think Swiss Army Man would make. Well, it's so good as a live action thing. 'Cause it's not something. I think it's.
It works because he's playing a dead body the whole time.
Yeah. And a crazy guy, so you're not quite sure if the dead body was there or not.
Right.
But I love that movie. If you've not seen it, it features Harry Potter as a human farting motorboat. It's good. I think that could totally be an anime. I think it's bizarre.
I was thinking almost of Brigsby Bear.
Brigsby Bear.
Have you seen that? Mm-hmm. That was a good movie. That's very character driven. I wonder if like a lot of indie directors and indie filmmakers and like even indie fans are, closet anime nerds, because like it seems they're similar in terms of like they like the more realistic but still character driven stories.
Not to like hate on indie people and hipsters, because I am one, so maybe I am allowed to hate. But I speak for specifically myself and maybe a few other people when I say I don't let like I don't know, I use the term stereofact instead of stereotype, so maybe I'm contradicting myself here, but I don't let genre or medium destroy something before me before I try to experience it. That's not to say I listen to like every new song that comes out before I decide I hate it. Like I generally listen to one and decide if I hate the album or not. But I give it a chance. I try. But I'm not gonna sell myself short of experiencing a good story just because
it's an anime and you don't understand it,
or because it's a German cartoon or a German live action movie, or I don't want to. But generally, I do check to see if it has good reviews or if other people enjoyed it. Sometimes I delve into something without any knowledge of it because I think it looks neat. But people don't. Well, not people. Indie people want the good experience, and they don't want to sell themselves short just because it's not mainstream, because they're not even mainstream, I think is the
yeah, I guess.
there's the monologue.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people.
Write it on my tombstone.
I don't know. I think people that just don't or adamantly don't watch anime are usually in the camp of like, I don't really understand it. I've never seen a good one, so I don't watch it.
Yeah.
And like, I feel almost the same about a lot of foreign movies. Like, I haven't seen enough to really appreciate the culture that I don't understand in those movies. So like, I've seen, you know, Spanish movies or French movies or German movies. I'm just like, it's all right, but I don't really understand it, and I don't really enjoy it.
Oh, I love like Chinese road trip movies.
Okay, Chinese movies are pretty freaking great because they're just they're wacky.
Yeah. Well, and then some of them are much less great. Like I've tried to watch a few Russian movies because they were big and like great and whatever. But it was just because it was a large budget movie made in Russia. Like I tried to watch like the Russian superhero movie or whatever with like the Bear Man guy.
Never seen it.
It's
never even
whack.
heard of it.
I wasn't into it.
Oh.
A lot of these have like hype and appeal because it's like, well, I'm talking about Russian. I'm going to say the motherland, but like it's homebrew. You know, it's your own thing, and it's your big budget movie. It's your stuff that made it, and so it appeals to the masses, I guess, of said area.
Yeah, which is almost kind of weird because, like, but that's the thing is American movies do really well in the foreign market.
Right. Yeah.
Like something like Transformers doesn't do well in America. Doesn't do well at all. But then still makes over $1 billion because for some reason everyone in Asia is like, I think it's mainly specifically in China. That they're just like, yep, this is pretty great. I'm okay with this, and yet we're just like, it's just a couple robots beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, dude, it's just a bunch of moving gears on screen. You can't even tell, you know, which robot's which robot.
I don't even know if it's a robot or if it's like paint. Actually just scenery.
Yeah.
Like I could not tell in one of the other movies if something was a robot or
like, not to say I hate
part
Michael
of the
Bay.
ship.
Like I loved his milk commercial.
What?
Or no, was it milk?
What are you talking
it was
about?
Milk, right? His first commercial that made him famous. It's pretty funny.
I got no idea.
It's, anyways, we'll watch it later. Serious movies that would be better animated.
Schindler's List. No, I don't know.
Schindler's List. I think, yeah. I think there's enough emotional turmoil in that movie. I think you'd have to change the situation so it's not like
you'd have to
Japanese speaking concentration camps.
Yeah.
But, well, I guess we had those in America.
Yeah. Well, it could work. Could work. Wouldn't do well for some people in America.
Or the Trail of Tears movie. I don't know what it's called, but about like the Cherokee. I think it's a Cherokee Indian Trail of Tears. So they were like just cattle herded, and they're like, nope, we're taking over the East, white man power.
Yeah.
Go live in the desert in the West. You can have New Mexico.
You can have this barren wasteland.
Yeah. No offense to people who live in New Mexico. Some parts are nice.
Most parts are barren wasteland. The Green Mile, perhaps.
Ooh, I like that. Or what's the other one? The Shawshank.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
It's really hard because they're really, really good as they are.
Right.
And I would assume that they would be culturally slightly different. I mean, it would be a completely different story because just the culture of it behind each character is different. It's hard to say.
I think Shawshank is more of a gang movie than I mean, obviously, but it's I mean, it's a prison, so it's full of gangs and cliques and
Right.
and whatever. But it's a very fish out of water story with your main character, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's the nerd who literally everybody listening to this should be able to relate to.
Yeah.
And he's put in the big brawny prison where he's got to like fight for himself and figure out, and he's able to play the system and work his way up and find protection from the guards, and eventually escape from the prison. But at the end of it does have kind of like the reveal behind the curtain at the end of the movie, how everything he was doing led to his escape, and it's kind of that back to the Ocean's 11 Now You See Me kind of reveal at the end, where at the end you find out, all this stuff that he was doing for other people was actually helping him.
I mean, I think the best indicative character, or the best character to define that kind of twist would be the Kevin Spacey, Kaiser Sose.
Kaiser Sosa.
I mean, that guy. That's one of the best twists ever. You're just like, right. Oh my God, it all fits. Kaiser Sose. Yeah, I was thinking something like American History X.
Okay, yeah.
That hit my head as another like serious freaking movie.
Or like Gran Torino or something.
Yeah, or Gran Torino. Like the problem I would see that why they wouldn't work is because they're too American. Like the actual just content is literally about American culture, and that obviously wouldn't transfer over.
And I was just thinking, like, the Fast and Furious movies, the first two are definitely animes. Like,
Yep.
If you changed shot for shot, it was just animated, it's an anime.
Yeah, that'd be pretty freaking great.
The first two, right? And then
I think the characters would become a little more emphatic or like exaggerated.
Right, yeah.
They become more interesting.
And they build more conflict, I believe, between characters. But like, you keep everything the same. You just make it a little more dynamic with the dialogue and characters or whatever. I mean, because animes, everybody's screaming all the time anyways.
Yeah.
She's screaming, first gear, second gear, engage. Psh.
Then you get like the cutaway shot. Oh my God, he cut it into 8th gear. Oh my God, he hit the nitrous.
He made it to 8th gear. He'll lose if he doesn't hit nitrous in the next 4 seconds. It's like, dude, the race is only 4 seconds long. You're going at 8th mile.
The races would be so fucking long. They're doing like quarter-mile races, and they take like...
Yeah, they already are. They already take like 35 seconds.
Yeah, but it'd just be funny. They have like 2 whole episodes devoted to each race. Like is Vin Diesel gonna... Like the end shot will be Vin Diesel crossing the lines, staring at the other guy, seeing whether or not, like, and you're just like, did he make it? Did he win?
But I think it's funny, as soon as they go to Japan, so the third one,
as soon as they go to Tokyo Drift,
and then more, I think they're much less anime-like from that point on. I think the first two are very anime.
When they become just action shoot-'em-up movies.
Yeah, something.
I mean, Tokyo Drift wasn't as much like that. Tokyo Drift wasn't all like that. I think it was just after that.
Sorry, we were talking about like serious movies, right?
Yeah, Fast and Furious is a serious movie. I don't know, I can't really think of any. we said a few.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we did a pretty good job of, like, I think I have a better idea of what I would consider anime now. Like, I would think something that's more character driven than story or situation driven.
Right. More character than situation, for sure.
Even if it's like a sitcom type anime,
right.
which I've seen a few of, but like more character than story. I think, and I touched this, I touched on this in my anime blog, Anime Super Fun Time, about School Rumble, where there's like different tiering systems of character development, where the highest tier of characters are the protagonists, and they obviously get the most development and have the most interactions. And then you have like kind of the not technically main characters, but they appear in almost every episode and they have stories about them and then specific development. Like there's time devoted to their development. And then below that, there's characters that like aren't around as much, but to do the world building, there's character development for them and time devoted for them. And then under that, there's the one-dimensional characters. So I think like the world built, like making the world seem realistic by creating real characters and having real interactions is what really makes the anime. Other than just it's in Japanese and it's animated.
I agree.
Good point.
So yeah. I still think there are a number of movies that would be better suited if they were made in anime form. It could be better. I just inconveniently can't think of any right now.
Well, I mean, there's so many freaking movies. I'd have to dive into my movie Excel spreadsheet to find them.
So if anybody has any comments or ideas that has listened this far in, please
or skipped this far ahead
to
find the juicy meaty
the nutmeg
what is anime definition
that we still can't answer the question to completely. If you think there are movies that would be better suited in an animated format with a Eastern mindset,
put it below.
Let us know
in the comments.
And on that note,
consider liking and subscribing.
Subscribe.
Yeah. We'll have other things other than just podcasts. Other like super mystery time and super music time, super cooking time, anime super fun time. All sorts of super great fun times. Yeah. Thanks for listening. I am Andrew.
And I am Remington.
Cool beans.